Hi, it's Katrina Dupins here with a Turn to Your Neighbor segment. In the last episode of Black Belt Voices, Adina and Kara spoke with professional genealogist Nika Sewell Smith. Well, today we're continuing our discussion on genealogy and featuring Amanda Hunter. She's a registered nurse in Central Arkansas who has been climbing her own family tree.
I knew some of my great grandparents, but I didn't know all of them, and I wanted to see how far back I could go in our ancestry. And I didn't know how far back we could go with, the Civil War and everything, if we could go any further. I was able to go back to about 1817, but there was a distant, very distant cousin that was able to go back to 1750, which was my sixth great grandfather. So they are from South Carolina, and she has all those records, even back to the slave schedules from South Carolina and North Carolina. I've never met her, but she's done a really good job. But me personally, it was about 1817.
Amanda's learned a lot of interesting things about her family, but one story that sticks out is the story of James Percy.
On my dad's side, my third great grandfather was actually a private in the Union for the Civil War. And so I didn't know that that was even something in our family. And so I usually try to go once a year to the cemetery and kind of visit his grave, because it kind of reminds you of the bravery that he had during that time as a slave to still, do that. And also one day I'd like to go to DC because his name is on the memorial.
Learning about her ancestors like James Percy and others gives Amanda a perspective that inspires her to make the most of her time here.
It really makes me realize that I need to make the most of my life because of what my ancestors went through, as far as being brave to even fight in the Civil War, or, how they left certain places in slavery in South Carolina to move westward or upward, in the North, to get away from Jim Crow laws and everything that happened after the Reconstruction. For them to go through all of that just inspires me to make sure to make the most of my life and to leave a legacy like they did.
And if you decide to climb your own family tree, Amanda offers this advice.
Be patient, because certain things are there and then some are not. So you may find records on certain relatives, and some relatives it may take a while. Talk to your elders, record them, because those stories you may not remember verbatim. It may take a while, to get that out of them. They may not remember everything, but if you spend time with your elders, the people that maybe were, during a time when you weren't, even alive, record those stories and visit cemeteries, which may sound weird, but you can find a lot of information of who was living and who died and were maybe your relatives in the same cemetery where people have already passed on.